Welcome, Annie Collins for Pajama Crafters. Today we're going to create this fun fold card. Let me go over the products I used to create this card. I used the Woodland Christmas Eve stamp set. This stamp set has 3 large critter images, 10 smaller images that you can use to decorate with, and 5 sentiments. It has Happy Christmas, Cookies for Santa, Love from the Critters, which we'll be using those today, has To and From, Christmas Cheer, Baked with Love, and Santa, we saved some. We saved you some. Sorry. So today we're going to be using the little badger, the tray of cookies, and 2 other little cookies that we'll use to decorate the inside of our card. We're going to set them aside because we're going to be creating a fun fold card. All throughout the month of November, the design team will be creating fun fold cards, whether it's here on YouTube or on the blog. I did a little mock-up here to show you exactly how the measurements will be. So let me pull that open and get it all set up. So this is called an accordion. No, sorry, let me read that correctly. It's called a pop-up floating panel fold. And we're going to start off with a piece of cardstock that is 4 1/4 wide by 11 inches long. So 4 1/4 inches wide by 11 inches long. And we are going to score our cardstock at 2 inches, 4 inches, 4.5 inches, 6.5 inches, 7 inches, and 9. Then at the 4-inch mark, we're going to cut down an inch, and we're going to cut down at the 7-inch, and we're going to meet those up, and we'll cut that away. We'll repeat that on the bottom as well, so that you end up with this, I'm going to say it looks like a dumbbell piece of cardstock. Now we're going to bring in those folds on those score lines. We're going to put valley, then another valley fold, and then a mountain fold on the 4.5. On the 6.5 will be another mountain, a valley on the 7, and a valley on the 9-inch score line, so that you end up with a piece that looks like this, with this little centerpiece popping up. This is what the top view will be, and this is when you display it, it'll look like that. On this little panel right here, we're going to put our card. We're going to have a little tiny top folding card. For this, you'll need a piece of cardstock that measures 2 3/4 wide by 7 inches long. And then we will score at 3.5, and then we'll fold it and create that top fold. And this will be adhered to the center of that little pop-up panel right here. We're going to adhere that there. And you'll center that, and that will create the floating pop-up part of our card. All right, so now that we have all that, see it once it's adhered, it'll stand up like this. Okay, now I went ahead and cut and scored my actual card that I'll be using. This is just my mock-up so that I can show it to you. So you would decorate the top and the inside of this little panel. All right. So here is my actual card. This is made out of 110-pound cardstock. And then I brought in some light blue cardstock and some red because it coordinated with the pattern paper I had. Here's my base. And then I'm going to put, excuse me, my pattern paper. And I have this in the wrong spot, so I'll show you correctly here in a second. So each little panel will be decorated. So this little panels on the outer will have the pattern paper. On the inner, I just put coordinating cardstock. And then you'll need 2 more for the outer section. Now I will read I wrote down the measurements. For the cardstock mats, you'll need 1 7/8 by 4 1/8 for each of those little panels. For the pattern paper, you'll need 1 3/4 by 4 inches. And I'll have this all written down for you in the description box below. All the score sections, everything. I'll have it all the directions in the description. So now I'm just adhering the pattern paper to the cardstock layer mat, and I did it for all those, and then I'll do the same thing for the cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere all my mats. Now, this pattern paper is from my own stash. We have a new release from Pajama Crafter, is new Christmas pattern paper, but when I recorded this, I did not have it in house, so I went with what I had. So here's the last two here, which is the cardstock on cardstock, and I just pulled out cardstock coordinated best with my pattern paper. Now for the little card, I have the measurements for that as well, and I will place it. Never mind, I dropped that on the wrong place. And for the blue cardstock, I did a 2.5 by 3.25, and then an eighth of an inch bigger. So 2 5/8 by 3 3/8 for the blue cardstock. So that will give us, everybody gets a nice matted little piece. So I'm going to adhere now these into their areas. So I want my solids in the center and my pattern paper towards the outer section, because you'll see those more. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this, and you want to make sure to stay clear of your scored area so that it folds nicely and it'll fit in your envelope easily. So I'm going to adhere my pattern paper and then my cardstock layer. And I'll do this on both sides, repeating the same thing, cardstock section and then the pattern paper section. And then our card will go, like I said, on that center area. So I'm going to adhere this one, make sure that it's all lined up nice and easy. And then out here on these little fold flaps, we'll put the rest of our pattern paper. So I used 6x6 pattern paper, and I was able to get all 4 of my little sections. So that's a good way to realize that you can use up that 6x6 paper. All right, so I'm going to adhere this last one here, clean up my little gluey mess right there. And our card is just about done. That's how it will look. And right here is where we're going to adhere our card. So I'm going to set this aside so we can adhere our little card panel. And I'm going to adhere this to that. I'm going to add a little glue there, and then I'm going to center this onto here. And this is the place where I'm going to place my little badger guy. He's going to be holding the little cookie tray, and then I'll use the other cookies on the inside. So for the inside, I want to place my other sentiment in here, which is the Happy Christmas. So I'm going to grab it. I have it already on a acrylic block, and I'm going to bring in my VersaFine Onyx Black ink. I'll ink it up, get the ink out of the way, and then I'm going to line this up on my grid mat to make sure I stay straight, and I will go ahead and stamp that sentiment in there. Once we have that, we can adhere this to our card. So I'm going to adhere the mini card to the large card, and I'm just going to put some adhesive on this little piece right here. It's easier to put the adhesive here than onto the little card, because you need to make sure that this is centered up and down, side to side. So I'm looking to make sure it looks good, and then I can close over and it fits nicely. And when you display it, it will display like this. That's why you want the nice pattern paper to show. You can put it in your envelope this way, but you'll need a bigger envelope, tucking the panels on the inside. But I like it better this way because it'll fit into my standard A2 panel. All right. A panel card envelope. I know how to speak. Envelope. All right, so now let's set this to the side so we can color our little badger. I'm going to tell you right now, I start coloring our little badger and you don't see me finish it. You don't see me adhere him to the card front either. That part of my filming was corrupted, so I'm going to show you quickly what little I do have left. So that's our little sentiment that reads, "Cookies for Santa, love from the critters," that I already stamped onto a banner that I die cut from the same pattern, from the same paper that I use as my card base. And then I use the cut again with the red. I'm going to use my Olo markers to color the badger and the cookies. I will put all the colors in the description box, as well as the equivalent in Copic, because I have both. So I will put them both for you there. Okay, so now I'm going to color his little pants. I start out with my lighter blue, which is, I have them on screen either way, which is B2.2. And then I color it in with the darker, which is B2.4. So you get to see that. You won't see all of the coloring. You get to see me color his pants and his suspenders and part of his face. So I'm going to come in with the B2.4 to put in the darker shading part of his pants here. I'm not sure what happened. Every now and then the film gets corrupted. It was so bad. It was not salvageable at all. So here is, I'm putting in the little highlights there, and then I'll blend it all in. And then I will color his suspenders red, which is R 0.6. And I do use the red as well for the little tray for the cookies. So I just have those little pops of red throughout. So I'm going to go ahead and color his little suspenders, my hair. There we go. So this little critter is wearing pants, but no shirt. I could have opted to color his top area as a shirt color, but I chose just to give him pants, no shirt. So I'm going to go ahead and start coloring his face, and I'm using two lighter markers. So I'm using 0.0. My goodness, 4.0 and 4.1 for that. And then for the rest of his body and face, I'll use OR 3.4, OR 3.7. And a little bit of OR 0.2 for the inside of his ear and for his cheeks. So here he's colored. Again, that portion got corrupted and placed on adhered to our card front. I used the Woodland Christmas Eve stamp set for this. And I'm going to put some stills for you to look at everything really well. So here it is, all decorated, all set. This is a fun fold. And again, it's called the pop-up floating panel fold. And I will have all the measurements in the description box below. Here's another look at the card complete. Here's a close-up of our little guy. And then a close-up of the inside of our card, which shows you the little extra cookies and the sentiment. Thank you for being here. I hope you found some inspiration. Don't forget to like and subscribe.